New historical research shows that the dates for the conquest wars that followed Muhammad's death seem to be off by at least 4 years from the dates given to us by Muslims. This, in and of itself, calls into question the accuracy of the standard Islamic narrative. With us here to unpack all of this, as before, our dear brother Mel. Mel, welcome back, and thank you so much, of course, for this wonderful research. We've been talking really about contradictions or conflicts between the standard Islamic narrative dating of certain battles in the modern-day Iraq region, and also the War of the Apostates or the Apostasy Wars. Which battles are you going to cover today for us?
So we're going to be looking at the Battle of Makr and the Battle of Ve Ardashir and a few others. So we're going to go through these fairly quickly. Again, we're looking at the evidence. We're going to look at the fact that there's reference to Persian leaders that we can date, and then we're going to work out what is the real date of the battles, and does it line up with Saif ibn Umar's dating? Does it line up with the standard Islamic narrative? And if these dates are wrong, as they have been consistently up to now, we need to really eventually get to a point where we come up with an explanation for why there's a mismatch in all of these dates. So that's what we're going to take a look at. So we'll start with the Battle of Makr. The Sen says it happened in 633. So Purshariati says, in the Battle of Makr on the day of Al-Makr, which according to Saif took place subsequent to the Battle of Ulays, Azadbi, the Marzban of Hira, who also fought at the Battle of Ubula, set out to dam the Euphrates. Azadbi, however, was also impelled to flee by the news that reached him about the death of Ardashir III, as well as the defeat of his own son. So we have an indicator that this battle occurred shortly after the death of Ardashir III. We do have the dating of when he died, so this means that the battle actually occurred in 630 AD. So we're out by 3 years there. Mm-hmm. Then we have the Battle of Ve Ardashir. The Sen says 12 AH or 634. Now here we have an overlap between the years, because we're kind of moving from the autumn into the winter and then into the new year. So even though it's still 12 AH, this is why it goes from 634 to 633 to 634 now. While preoccupied with their disputes in the capital, the Persians nevertheless did send Batman Jadhuye to Bahur Rasir, accompanied by the forces of Asadbi. It is the Parsic leader Batman Jadhuye, therefore, who nevertheless returned to the war front to engage the Arabs. She goes on to say that the Persians, Saif continues, were left split after the death of Ardashir III regarding the kingship, but in agreement on fighting Khalid and supporting each other. This state of affairs continued for a year while the Muslims were penetrating up to the Tigris. The Persians held nothing between Al-Hira and the Tigris. If indeed the Persians were preoccupied with this state of affairs for a year, this then takes us to the time that Burandukt became queen. Saif confirms this. After a year of warfare, Khalid left Iraq and went to Syria at around the same time that Burandukt had come to power. As we saw earlier, this was sometime in July 630 or early 9 AH. So we can see there's clear evidence from all of this that the dating is massively out. So in conclusion, for that battle, we have, instead of 634 AD, we have a date of 630. Yep. If we look at another battle, the Battle of Anbar, it's said to have occurred in 634, but according to the sources, as we've seen before, it actually happened in 630.
So the 4 years off theme is consistent here.
It absolutely is, yeah. So you can just see it like a spectrum. We just shift all of the battles over, and it sort of makes sense. And we have the Battle of Ain Tamir, and So the context of the subsequent Battle of Ain Tamir tallies best with the short period during which Sharvarez was in power. So we know when he was in power. And so therefore this would have happened sometime between April and June 630. Notice how precise the dating is there. So again, we're talking 3 years out. And then we have the Battle of Firad. Again, the Sin says it happened in 634. Poor Shariati says, although traditionally believed to have been in 12 AH, based on Saif's Hijra dating, we propose that it actually took place during Sharvaraz's short reign. In this battle, unusually, the Persian, the Byzantines, and some Arab tribes joined forces. She says an attempted cooperation between the Byzantines and the Persians at this juncture of history is quite plausible, for Heraclius, we recall, had instigated the Mithranid Sharvaraz to usurp the throne and had promised him manpower as well. Saif informs us that Sharvaraz was killed around the same time that Hormuz Yad Huye was defeated in June 630. So we have got, again, a really clear date. We got June 630. So it's pretty obvious. This sin is massively out. It's 4 years out. It says 634, and yet the real date is 630. And actually, that's for the next part. So we've seen 10 battles in total, and we saw that in every case, we see a consistent mismatch. We're talking about 4 to 5 years out in the dating. So these battles of conquest into Iraq, they occurred somewhere between 629 to 630. And yet the standard Islamic narrative says that these all happened in 633. That is a major problem for those who believe that the standard Islamic narrative is accurate. So hand you back.
Absolutely. And of course, I'm hoping that you will at some point, whether this series or in the future, to show people the impact of this shift now and how the dating will impact a number of events, obviously. So thank you as always, and we thank everyone for, of course, watching with us. I think next time you are going to give us, I guess, a concluding, basically episode that will unpack all of this.
Yeah, so I suppose the key mystery is, what is the reason for this 4-year mismatch? So we're going to look at the idea that there was an old Hijra dating that got rid of. It didn't suit the later narrative. So we're going to find out what year the Arabs originally thought they were founded in. And then we're going to plug Saif's Hijra dating on the basis of that old dating and see, does it line up with poor Shariati's dating? So she's dating everything based on the Persian leaders. We're going to take Saif's Hijra dating, plug in a different year for the foundation of Islam, or the foundation at least of the Arab rebellion, and then see if they line up. And I think you're going to be amazed at how well both sets of dates line up. So that's coming up next.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, of course. And we encourage you, of course, to comment on these series. Send us any possible resources that you may have or came across. Anything you feel like would be of help. We're not, I just want to make it clear, we're not hung up on what we are reporting. If there is anything out there that will allow us to re-examine, we're open for that. Absolutely. Mel is open for that. We're not really trying to say it's etched in stone, our dates are the better ones, but we are pointing the obvious that there is a shift of at least 4 years. And with that comes shifting almost every event now that is reported to us according to the standard Islamic narrative as opposed to these findings. So that's what we're focused on, is that the impact, the significance of such a thing, and sooner or later we are going to begin to see how damaging such thing can be as well, because it is basically telling us that there is something wrong here and that we ought to re-examine almost everything reported to us under the standard Islamic narrative. Or if I may borrow the basically famous phrase by a famous basically Jade or a teacher let's take a deep dive and get into this hole and find the holes in the narrative. Ain't that true, Mel?
Absolutely. It's definitely worth putting on our scuba gear and taking this deep dive, because it's amazing what you find when you make that dive. So I think part 5 is not to be missed. There's going to be an amazing set of extra sources that we're going to have a look at. We're going to make the mystery clear. We're going to clarify what really happened, how all of this happened, and it's going to really make an awful lot of sense in our next episode. If you think, well, this doesn't make sense, everything is going to be clarified in part 5.
Wonderful. Thank you so much as always. And of course, we encourage everyone to continue your dialogue with us. Until next time, have a blessed day. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And ring the bell so you will be notified when we release new content. Our mission is to reach Muslims with the gospel of Jesus Christ and help Christians engage with their Muslim neighbors. If you want to join us in this life-changing work, please support us on patreon.com/Sira International, or just click on the link below.